the reason why you do this, why you guys hoard food. This usually ends up in my readings with people that are seeking past lives. This happens because a lot of you had past lives where you didn't have food. Perhaps you were poverty stricken. Perhaps you were in Ireland and you were part of one of the families that, you know, was trying to find work, and it was very hard for you to find work. And maybe you guys were trying to find ways to immigrate over to the States. And we're gonna do that today. We're gonna kind of meditate for beginners today. So that's kind of my goal today, is a lot of you guys are having trouble meditating during this time. So we're gonna go over that too as well. But this is the reason why you kind of hoard food. And a lot of you may have had, you know, lives in Ireland or England where there was not a whole lot of food going on, and maybe your father was having trouble finding work, and, you know, you had little bits of soup to eat. So, or you could have been part of the Holocaust, exactly, where obviously they didn't get food. They were very stricken with health issues for not, or being, you know, malnutritioned. So being a food hoarder, the understanding behind this concept for the soul is, it's almost like a protection. The soul does not want to endure that life. It understands it's on a new life, but it also does not want to go through a life where it has to need food. So it constantly is having a backup system. So what you need to do is kind of start taking baby steps to saying, okay, obviously I'm gonna take some and not eat it. So I'm either going to take it home and give it to the birds, or I'm gonna give it to my dogs, or I'm gonna hand it off to somebody else. It's taking baby steps into understanding that you're not in a poverty-stricken life, and it's kind of helping your soul understand that that trauma no longer has to be held on to. And that's part of what we're going to do today, is releasing and cleansing. So as long as you start working with your soul's past lives and understanding that these lives are in the past for a reason, like I have issues with drowning in water. Those of you like Michelle who are, you know, understand that they passed in a life from drowning, or Arlene, who's terrified of water, or Jackie, who's afraid of water, or Lisa, just understand that these past lives, you can still frolic in the water and still understand that this isn't the life you're going to be doing that. And that's the whole point of being afraid of something, because it's the soul's kind of giving a sense of, okay, I'm afraid of it, but it's not going to happen again. So it's kind of calming and healing your soul. And we're going to work on healing our soul today. I'm going to recommend a lot of things to do. I'm afraid of snakes too, Terry. I don't like them. Creepy little sneakies. That's what I call them. I recommend, guys, getting the crystals, and crystals, your personal guide. And guys, seriously, it's only $7.98 at Barnes & Noble. It's on the bargain shelf. I'm sure you can call and get it sent to your house, or reserve it if they don't have it and they can get it in. But I've been kind of just gnawing through this book, and it goes through the chakras. Let's see what else. It shows you how to dowse. It goes through the different, I mean, it doesn't say a whole lot on the crystals, but it's kind of enough to kind of get you a little bit familiar with, okay, like, you know, when you go into books and there's novels and you're like, oh God, I don't want to read all this. This kind of just does little snippets for you to understand, like, real quick what that stone does. Like, real quick, it just says selenite's energy moves quickly and can shift energy blockages easily. So basically what you would use selenite for is cleansing your aura, taking debris out of your aura, just kind of sweeping it over your body, okay? We're going to be talking about clear quartz today, and there's different kind of quartz. I brought a smoky quartz to kind of show you. These are probably my favorite stones in-house. The book's called Crystals, Your Personal Guide. That's what it's called. Crystals, Your Personal Guide. Okay, so this is a smoky quartz. It's so beautiful. Let me kind of show you. It's really see-through. It's so pretty. Okay, let me get out of here so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so that's the smoky quartz. All right. And I do have a clear quartz. This is my favorite one. We do get these in, so if you ever want one of these, just call the shop and say, hey, I want a flat-based point, super clear crystal, quartz crystal, okay? Flat piece. It has to be a flat. We don't have two pointy ends. I wish we did. That'd be really cool. So this is the clear quartz. This is my little buddy. I love him. And what I love about these is they have like these little sceneries going on at the bottom. And it almost kind of reminds you of like a stage of maybe something going on and it got stuck inside forever. Okay, here's another kind of clear quartz point. And it's very facet. It's very good for kind of healing certain areas. So if you have trouble communicating, this is what you would kind of do, is pull out what's keeping you from communicating. So pointing it out and kind of just sitting there. Maybe you have some heart issues, maybe you're having trouble and you just point that. The points push energy out or they push energy in. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're working with angels and you want to work with their energy with your heart. So you stand the angel in front of you and you put the pointy piece towards you and you ask them to push energy in through the crystal towards you, okay? Cloudy milky quartz is basically a regular quartz. I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to achieve with it. It kind of has like an opaque appearance to it. But this stone is more for clearing energy, whereas clear quartz is more for amplifying. So let's say, for example, you put your clear quartz with your smoky quartz and you're having depression. This, okay, I'm going to use medical terms for you guys because this is the only way I can describe crystals to you. And I've never heard anybody describe it like this. And it is in my book, how I explain how to kind of calculate to do this. But let's say, for example, your smoky quartz is a 30 milligram, okay? It's pretty low, it's not in the 80s. But the second you put a clear quartz with it, it jumps up to a 60 or a 50, okay? It amplifies it, and it makes it better for you, okay? Now, if you don't want that intense of a frequency to help you, and you're just kind of just hum-bum, and you're not really in a deep depression, then you can pull the clear quartz out and go back down to a 30 milligram. Okay, that's how I describe the crystals to you, okay? Here is a citrine if you're feeling down in the dumps, or maybe you're having trouble sleeping, or trouble, not sleeping. That's the next one. I'm jumping ahead. If you're having trouble with energy and you need to spunk up, citrine's really great for popping you into a positive, happy, energetic feeling. This is a super clear citrine, okay? The next one is for sleep, which is amethyst, and you can put amethyst in your cup at night, wait an hour and then drink it, or wait 10 minutes if you're in a hurry and then drink it. But this helps with headaches, migraines, insomnia, aches and pains, crown chakra, third eye chakra, anything really health-based. Amethyst is your go-to. And we have actually a amethyst heated bed at the shop, which is kind of cool. You lay on it and it gets rid of inflammation, aches and pains, anything that you might be, even addiction, it helps with. So it helps you get rid of all that stuff. So that's just a few crystals to kind of work with now with the energy that's happening, okay? Citrine to kind of pop you up, smoky quartz to get you out of depression. And then, of course, my gold stone, is on the other side, and I meant to grab it, and that is for anxiety. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of saging real quick because I forgot to do that. But I know you guys have a lot of problems right now. A lot of you guys are watching media, and I really, really strongly suggest you don't watch anything right now because it's only going to lower your vibration to where your guides are trying to keep you away from. My whole mission is to it was to inform you guys, but now it's to elevate you out of what's going on. I was to let you know what was happening, but now that you know what's happening and you're aware of it, now it's time to elevate above it as it's happening so that you're not getting consumed by it. Here's a question. Sherry Noel asks, can you teach us to channel our own souls so we can remember? Well, Sherry, the thing is, you listen to yourself every day. You just don't understand that you're doing that. And the reason being is because you're having conversations in your head, and you're not having those conversations by yourself. You're having conversations with your guides, which intel is your higher self, because they're the ones relaying what your higher self wants you to know or remember or explore while you're here. Okay? So you actually are doing this every day. You just aren't aware how much you're doing it. If you're in your head and you're driving down the road and you went from A and all of a sudden you got to B and you're like, how the heck did I get here? I don't remember driving. This is because you're off talking to your guides. You're off, getting messages relayed from your higher self, because your higher self is the one who put the guides in charge to follow your instructions. They're kind of like the middleman between your higher self, your physical self, and your soul contract instructions. Okay, Deborah Ambrose, what is in store for the rest of our year? I know we have free will, but truly, what is in store for us? Deborah, this can take many paths. This is why I don't do these psychic future readings, because on your soul contract, you have so many options that you can choose from, and they change on a whim. Remember, your soul contracts are mapped out on your hands. Your left hand is the mapping of what you could have done. Your right hand, is what you are doing as of right now, the things you're choosing. Black orbs are not bad. Those are souls that are still learning. They're not in purgatory or suffering in hell or anything. These are just simply souls that are still learning in the Hall of Knowledge area and haven't moved on to the higher realm of understanding. They're still kind of figuring things out. They're all knowing, but they want to understand their path that they just recently took, and sometimes this can be a struggle. So basically what you're going to want to do is kind of just help them along. When you see these orbs, just say, I understand you're still learning. I pray that Archangel Michael comes and assists you in this learning, and that you are able to feel the divine peace and love from God's source, okay? And just help them move along and understand that they're not being judged, that they are loved, and they can move on. And when people say, oh, we need to help them cross over, when a soul leaves a body, they've already crossed over. There's no more crossing over. These are just souls that are placing themselves in an area that they feel like they deserve, when in the long run, that's not how these things work. Your soul is constantly learning, and you don't have to suffer for the things you've done here, but you do have to understand them. There's a difference. It's like being around somebody that's negative. You don't have to absorb their negativity, but you can support them while they go through that learning. Two different aspects, and the same thing goes with these souls. Spirit guides do not kick your butt if you're not doing what you're supposed to, because there is no supposed to, there is no right or wrong, there is just learning. And if you decide to go veering off on a path that is supposed to elevate you, and you're still maybe not ready to go in that direction, they're not going to get upset with you. They're just going to say, well, you're going to learn. Either way, it's going to be a struggle because you're not listening. But if that's what you want to do and that's how you want to learn, you go for it. Okay, next question on our list here. Jackie Orman says the new species that are being seen for the first time ever are just like Christina Watts' prediction. Oh, not my question, just amazed how accurate she is. Oh, well, okay, thank you, Jackie. Sure, there's tons of alien places and hideouts for aliens that are actually already here. I'm considered a galactic walk-in from Kalinia. I'm not afraid of my mission, and I'm being protected as I'm doing it. So, and there's a lot of us out there. Not too many, but there's a lot. Michelle Cannon, I just want to reverberate real quick that it's not a galactic takeover. Galactics want to assist humanity in their acceleration of learning and heightening their vibration. So it's not a hostile takeover. And Trump is still working on his mission with having so many years already in progress doing this. I'm pretty sure he probably hit some roadblocks or he's hit some snags and is still working on it. I would have thought they would have been done with it, but again, this goes into future psychic predictions. There's a construct of events, but those construct of events can play out longer or be shorter. It just depends on the soul getting it done. Okay, Michelle Nowak wants me to explain starseed, light worker, walk-in, etc. Okay, a light walker or light worker, I call them light walkers because they're walking in. A good portion of them are walking in. These are souls that are very uppity, peppy, namaste, peace, and some of them fake it. You can tell the ones that fake it and the ones that are actually real. There is a lot of ones out there faking it when deep down they have a lot of turmoil, but they want to stay positive. But that's not a light worker. That's just somebody trying to elevate and get out of their own rut. So there's a difference between the two. But a true light worker is there to elevate the energy around people to a more positive. A galactic worker like myself, we're matter of fact. We tell the facts, we don't beat around the bush. Sometimes a lot of people don't like the truth, but that's not what we're here for. We're not to cater. We're just to get the truth out, get the message out, and those who accept it, and those who don't, aren't ready for it, and that's fine. I'm still of light energy, so I try to bring a lot of this to my messages. You know, we might be going through this stuff, but there's another way to go about it. Another one, starseeds are just basically galactic workers. That's mainly it. And a walk-in is someone that has an agreement with the original host that when the original host is ready to dissipate and leave this world and is done with their learning, then they will move on and the body is preserved and it doesn't go through the death and decomposition, breaking down of the body, and it's still preserved for another mission. And that's what I went through. I came in 2009 as she left from a car accident. There has to be something that jolts the body, an accident, a surgery where the soul is too weak to hold on to the body. There's a slipping out. It's a slip out, slip in. It's all explained in my book in great detail, how this all works. But that's mainly what the rules are for different. What I noticed about humans is they love to title things when really we're just all of source. We're all here on a journey learning, whether you're doing it positively, matter of factly, galactically. It's just, it is what it is. And I don't like putting things in like a form. I have trouble with that. And when I'm trying to word things to put them in those frames, it's hard for me. Kathy Southwick asks, is it true the galactics are spraying things in the air to help cure the virus and to help decalcify our pineal gland? Kathy, this was actually part of the mission that they would be doing this, but it wouldn't be seen. The streaks that you see in the sky are of human nature These are humans doing this with airplanes and putting something in the air. But I think what more along the lines of what you're probably picking up is not in our skies, but through the sun. There's a filtration happening through the sun. They have a filter over the sun. That's why a lot of people aren't seeing the sun as much lately. It's more downcast, rain, foggy, cloudy, because the sun is going through a filtration, because the portals are being cleansed of negative energy coming in. The negative energy was allowed to come in for so long in order for humans to learn, but they feel that that no longer is needed, so now they're basically closing certain portals and cleansing ones out. The sun has many portals, and I think a lot of people think, well, I don't know how you get in and out of there. Well, there's devices that, you know, aren't of this world or this dimension that you can see that's actually going on. There's many paths that I was shown before I came here to express to you guys. There's a lot of poverty. I expressed to you guys saving seeds, because meat is not going to be a commodity anymore. Meat will be starting to go. Eggs, butter, this kind of thing will start to go as the animals start to go. That's one path. We don't have to go towards that path. So there is a lot of poverty on that path where people are kind of scounging and, well, basically going back to the old ways of doing things, where it's regular families farming on their own land and making their own crops and things like this. So that is one path that I was shown, and that was actually the path that we were actually heading towards. I am seeing a break on that, where things are kind of elevating. People are starting to get wind of Bill Gates, where there was a path that Bill Gates took over everything basically, and I'm seeing that shifting now. So I'm actually excited to see that shift. Okay, let me explain it this way. When I channel messages from galactic beings to you guys, like from my homeland Kalinia, or from Mary Magdalene or Maria, this is a channel. I hate the word channel. I don't know why, it just gives me bad vibes, like somebody's using it in a bad way. Almost like it comes off like a possession, and it's not. To me, that's more of a dimensional portal, where, let's say you have a tube, okay? And on one end there's a radio, and the radio's playing messages. And the radio comes through the filtration, and it gets filtered of any bad, like anything that may be stuck to it, debris along the way, it's being cleansed. And then it comes onto the other side. And the person that's being deemed to receive it, receives it, and then that person here goes to this end and pushes the message through, and it again gets filtrated and filtered, and debris gets taken off, and it's put to the ears or eyes of those receiving it. Do you see? That's how it happens. But you have to be deemed to have that ability to do that on a regular basis. It would have came with you as a walk-in, or it would came with you as you were born. So you would have started doing it immediately. It would have just been second nature to you. What I teach in class is different topics. We've gone and talked about shadow work. I especially really enjoyed doing the shadow work. That was our first class in November. I would like to go back to doing shadow work. Shadow work to me was so in-depth. There's so much information to get out to the students on that I would have loved to have 5 more months on it, because there's so much to go over. Because shadow work is the parts of you that you hide from others, that you should let out of your system, because you're not really truly being a soul learning here until you let go of your shadow. And shadow work is constant work, and you really have to put forth effort to understand it, to learn from it. So just willy-nillying it is not going to get you anywhere. So let's say, for example, you have an addiction. Maybe you have an addiction to smoking. There's an underlying reason why you're learning from it, why you continue to do it, and why you won't quit it. So working with your shadow will help you to understand your past lives from it, the energy elevation that you're at, your codes, your DNA codes can be reprogrammed, because if you feel you're done learning from it, you've done it for 40 years, which is kind of a long time to kind of be learning something like that, your DNA codes can be understood and then reprogrammed to kind of let that energy go and start learning from something new that isn't so hazardous to your health. So this is just an example of what shadow work we went over. Let me kind of take you on the journey of that. A lot of people don't understand what I kind of went through, but I know that I was getting reprogrammed. I was very uneasy with the path I was about to take because I already had known my mission. I had come from a timeline where Earth was very destructed. There was a lot of poverty. It was like the Holocaust on a global span, and it was not healthy. And we, part of the Galactic Council, a lot of us decided to come through the vessel as a walk-in to kind of elevate you guys above that energy, which we're starting to see some changes. I'm kind of excited about that because, you know, we saw Bill Gates take over. He had great control over a lot of people, and a lot of you guys are elevating and seeing what he's doing, and now he's not able to do what he was going to do on that timeline. So I congratulate a lot of you for waking up and seeing that and elevating and shifting that energy to a different route. So my mission was supposed to end in February. It did not. I ended up staying. So after getting the prophecies out, getting the messages out to you guys, and now that we're in the middle of all of it, I sat here and was just kind of like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because that was my mission. Now what? So I was kind of sitting in my bed, kind of writing the book, and then all of a sudden I was walking through what looked like a pasture of luscious green, somewhat tall grass, came kind of up to my ankles, and I was met by Maria and Michael, and I was like, okay, what's going on? And she just kind of went like this and told me to follow her. So I started following her, and I'm like, where was this going? And these big gates, like these big golden, opaque, opaly gates open, and I knew where we're going. That's part of heaven. That's part of the area of heaven. So I'm like, okay, we're going to heaven. Am I leaving now? Like, because I feel like I'm still awake in my bed. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now. So like, had the little blonde moment, like, oh, okay, what's happening? So I walked through those gates, and we kind of went like on a rocky, looked like gravel, and we went up over a tiny hill onto this gazebo. Thank you, Vicky. And there was a man standing there with it looked like a big staff, and he had a big bright crystal that was like glowing on top, and it kind of went up into a flamey thing, and it was like a crystal lit up in flames, but it was actual crystal. It was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. He had said, you know, we have allowed you to see up until this point due to your mission, but now that your mission has shifted, so it has the communication. And I was like, uh-oh, is my gifts changing? Like, are they getting taken? Did I not do well? Like, I was like going through all this stuff in my mind. He's like, please stay calm. All that you need to see is on the next track, on the next steps over. And I felt like we were just standing there to kind of inform me about stuff, and then we were to cross to the next level of my elevation. So I step off, and he said, please follow me. Okay. So I stepped off the gazebo, and I started walking this trail again. And as I'm walking, it felt like do you ever get like a scab and you pick it and you're like, ow? This was kind of like that, where like parts of, like, I could tell it was inside my soul, but parts were like being pulled off. And but it didn't hurt like a scab, but you get what my sense of, like, when you pull off a scab, like, you're like, oh. I could feel it, but it didn't hurt, but you could feel like things just kind of, and it was like blowing behind me. And it was being collected. Michael was like collecting it in some kind of like fabric. I don't know what he was doing with that. it's some kind of new device I'm not aware of that angels are doing now, which he has me doing with you guys today, so we're going to get to that. But so I'm walking and he's collecting this stuff behind me, and I kind of like, my soul kind of glimpsed back. My vessel is going this way. My soul kind of popped out and looked back, and it was like these red particles that like were like orangey red, which is his aura color. So I'm guessing he was protecting them so they wouldn't like get out of the fabric in any way. Okay, so as we're walking, we come up onto this staircase, and I had to go down the staircase, and it was like two big staircases. And as I walked through the doors, it kind of looked like an old antique like train station that had like the big antique. Okay, we're good. It said we were slow or lacking on our thing here. So it was just like really big antique lamps on the sides as you walked in. I'm like, wow. And it was so antique-y looking, and there was two steps, two big long staircases down. So we went down. And I remember just seeing bookcases upon bookcases and tables and stacks of books. And I remember the one table was really, really, really long, and there was books and there was a lamp on it, and I don't know why there was a lamp. I guess maybe it was like to make me comfortable with where we were at. I don't know. Which I didn't mind. They didn't have to be that detailed. But every time I go in there, it looks the same. But there's like books and stacks of books, and it was just kind of like lined up, and there's crystals on this table and things like this. And to the right of me were 4 guides that kind of stepped up towards me, and 3 were male and 1 was a female. And the female kind of stood in the middle of them. She seemed to kind of be like the head leader in what we were doing here. And I did write her name down. Hold on. I wrote the whole like experience down. Let me just find her name. I just thought it was really, really neat. Okay. I was crying a lot the whole time. It was very emotional. Okay. Okay, the female's name was Ashleah. That's one I'm gonna have to remember. Oh, I'm sorry, she didn't have blonde hair. She had reddish orange hair. I'm forgetting that. One of the men had blonde hair. And it kind of cascaded over her left shoulder. Kind of like what I do with mine on my right shoulder. Same thing. It was hard to see the other males or gather their names. But, okay, so after they were kind of like shown to me, I was taken to my sacred space within this area. And I had to go past this long table, and there was a bookshelf, like a bookshelf and a bookshelf. So it kind of like made an L like this. And I went behind the one bookshelf, and there was these 2 really big windows that kind of met in an L, like an L shape. And looking out, I saw like a beach. Yeah, it kind of looked like a subway station, like an antique subway station. There is a keeper of my area that grants me access when I walk in. It's almost like it's like a galactic guard that stands there. And I was given 3 diamonds. Now, the funny thing is, the pendulum that I use for my readings sometimes looks like a black diamond. It's so crazy that they showed me diamonds. I was like, what? And I already knew the colors before they even showed me. It was purple, blue, and green. The purple was for royalty because of who I am to Jesus. Then the blue was for communicating the records. I was being granted access to these higher level DNA light code records. And then the green was for healing with the records through the communication. So based off of who I was, that's why I was being granted access in the first place. And there was a bird chirping outside the whole time. Like, not the whole time, but like where I'm at this area, and I come out of it and there was a bird sitting out of my window, and I'm like, what the? And that's Maria, because she comes to me like a bird. Then I was lastly given another diamond that was like a silvery gold color. It was like the last thing they had handed to me. And this was granted as a blessing with what I wanted, and what I wanted. It was like, hey, let's make a wish on this diamond. And I'm just going to be honest. The first thing that came to me was, and I'm not going to cry on live feed here, but it was to grant me and Eden healing. I wanted healing for her and I. Maria had said, is this the blessing that you choose? And I said, yeah, it's the only blessing I want. And that was it. And then I gave them all a hug and thanked them for giving me access and giving me the records to have granted. But that was it. There's two different ways I'm going to be going about doing this, and one is called a soul session. Now, you guys are used to the spirit guide communication. This is not going to be available anymore. This is going to be a totally different path. The soul session is a special vibration that we're going to go over and talk through. And then after the session, we will be protected. I will close the session off in a particular prayer way that you will say at your house, I will say here, to close off the session, so we are not absorbing each other's energy. You're not taking home my stuff. I'm not taking home your stuff. And there is a 21-day prayer that I will be providing everyone that gets the soul session, which you will do for 7 minutes each day, and this will clear out your aura to keep you on the soul session that you were just delivered. Okay. Now that Akasha Records, we go over everything from your guides to your angels, why your angels there, who are they, your light, your DNA stuff, like what you need to know with your path. It goes over every single detail of your life, and you probably only need to do it once or twice in a year. You don't need it. That the soul session is for every so often that you need, not the Akasha. The Akasha is like this is all about you. It's fully about you, and it could be 7 pages long or 17 pages long. I don't know. It just depends on what they show me. It could be 30 pages long. Just depends. And that session is done through email because I have to type everything out for you. So it won't be this like back and forth, but I will allow you to ask one question based off your Akasha, or 2 questions. I forget which one it is. And that is based off of minutes as well. So Maria's kind of like timing me. Okay, you have 60 minutes for this. So chop chop. And then we have a light code session where I will go over your DNA codes, and we will understand your specific coded imprint. Everybody does not have the same. And you will be provided a meditation by me for that cosmic code light meditation session. It's to kind of get you to vibrate with your own DNA and your own light codes, because everybody has it's like a fingerprint. Nobody has your DNA codes. But you want to kind of just make sure that you're concentrating on being mindful and understanding that you have more control over your mind than you think you do. It's paying attention to what your mind is thinking about and bringing it back to what you want it to think about. It's, in your own sense, mind control over yourself. It's taking control of your mind and allowing yourself to see that you're more powerful in your mind than you originally thought you would be. Cynthia, don't they always do that? Yvonne tells me that all the time. She tries to meditate and everybody bothers her. But then when she's not meditating, they want nothing to do with her. And I think that to me is something dark, trying to keep you from meditating. So you really have to kind of put your foot down and be like, listen, I'm going to meditate. I'm taking this amount of time to be with myself. Please do not interrupt. Even if you have to put a sign on the door, don't open the door, or beware of my wrath. Okay? Sleep. I want you to imagine Michael, however you want to imagine Michael, however you feel comfortable that you think he looks like, okay? And Bella, we're going to go over that today. I want you to just place him in your mind how you see him. He doesn't mind how you place him. just as long as his energy's there and he is accepting that you're being willing to work with him. And I want you to imagine that he has a type of a vacuum with a long tube. It could be small, it could be big, whatever size you imagine in your mind. And it could be one of those handheld vacuums, it could be the push ones. Whatever vacuum you think of, it's okay. You're creating it, okay? You can paint it purple, you can paint it peach, whatever. You can make it look like it was made in the 60s. Whatever your vacuum looks like, it's your vacuum you're coming up with that he's gonna use. It's gonna be for him. So what he's gonna start doing is he's gonna take this tube and he's gonna place it on top of your head, and he's going to start suctioning debris out of your aura, okay? And you might even feel like things popping off of you, or like you might suction of, you know, when you do the vacuum you hear something get sucked up in, you might hear that in your mind that he's sucking things out. But I want you to do this while you're laying in bed right before you go to sleep, and have him suck all the debris that you collected throughout the day. Okay, I want you to have him do it all around your body, even inside your organs and stuff. Like, have him go inside and suction all the inside parts, through your blood, your DNA, your aura, your veins, your muscles. Just have him suck whatever got stuck throughout the day. Have him suck all this stuff out of your debris. Okay. I want you to imagine that he hits a switch on the vacuum that reverses a white substance, a divine white substance from source, God, okay? And as he's going around your body, it like comes out like a thick substance, like a pudding or syrup. Syrup. Let's go with syrup, okay? So when you have Michael take the debris out with your vacuum, and he puts the white caulking syrup back into the crevices where he suctioned those out, then you're going to feel a sense of peace that things were removed and replaced with God's divine light and love. So what I'm trying to teach you guys is, when you remove something, you have to replace it with something. If you leave it vacant, it just leaves more of an opening for something to replace it. And it's not necessarily always going to be good. Hopefully you guys get out into nature in the next couple days. Just, even if it's like cold out, just stick your feet in the ground and ground yourself in the meditation I'm going to provide you today. You can even take the meditation, put headphones on, take your phone out, and just kind of put your feet in the ground. They want you to place yourself in a forest surrounded by thick trees, lush green leaves and grass, pebbles and flowers all about, and find a big rock to sit at. Place yourself on this big rock, Indian style, as if you were sitting relaxed and peaceful. And this big rock is next to a big tree. The tree of life, the tree of knowledge, the tree of God. And in this tree possesses knowledge, wisdom. And as the leaves drape over around you, they sprinkle divine light and knowledge, things needed to elevate your soul and your wisdom. And just sit and meditate and envision this dust particle sprinkling all around you and being absorbed. great power to create whatever path you choose. And with this dusting of knowledge, wisdom, peace, you are granted more access to these paths that you want to learn. And allowing things to step aside that are holding you back. Now is the time to empower yourself and allow yourself to grow with no holdbacks. Letting go of toxic energy and removing negativity. As you sit there and breathe in deep and release these things through your breath. You open your eyes suddenly in your mind, and a guide is sitting in front of you. This is your main guide, and simply nodding and acknowledging that they're there and their kindness towards you for being there. They smile and acknowledge back that they know they're here for you. Take in every detail you can, what their hair color is, what their eye color is, maybe what they're wearing. And they sit there staring up at you, and a communication bond creates in the mind, for which you open yourself up to any message they want to give you or not give you. If they don't give you a message, just bask in the energy of knowing who they are. And messages will come as they come later. And for now, it's just knowing who they are. Allow this communication to flow, either verbally or non-verbally. And just get to know their energy, how they come to you, what it feels like. This is getting to know your guide and allowing you access to who they are and not doubting what they show you, and allowing them to give you a name so that you may call upon them at any point in time and create this new communication dialect of knowing who they are to you and always knowing that they're around. Their love for you is quite grand, and they understand what you're capable of, even though sometimes you may doubt yourself. And they find that sad that this world has weighed you down so far when they are constantly beside you, holding your hand, trying to pull you up, showing you you don't have to go that low, you don't have to be that person. You are much more than what you seem and what you believe. To rise up, because that's how God made you. To help Earth elevate through kindness and love. Staying away from media, because that's dark's outlet communication tool to pull you back down. It's elevating, ignoring those things. Your elevation will do the work it needs to do without you listening to those things. Let it elevate And as you elevate, others around you will elevate. And the more that elevate, it's snowballing like Christmas lights around the world. Everybody lighting up and ignoring the dark. Because the more attention you give it, the more it wins. If you don't pay attention and you ignore it, it can't win. Light will always win. This is to bring you peace, to find new ways of entertaining yourself and teaching your soul to learn from new things. This is why your guide is here today, to show you those methods. Allow them to speak to you in your mind, in your heart, in your gut, every day, all day. And welcomes you to their frequency. And as we've sat here, your angels have used the dusting from the trees to elevate your vibration, to pull you out of where you've been. This will be a slow method for some and a fast-paced method for most. How you accept the vibration is up to you. Please acknowledge that your guide has been here and thank them for coming visually to you. And they say that you may use this meditation at any point in time to come and speak with them visually if you so need to. Slowly get up and nod to you as they walk on into the mist and disappear to the other side once more. You may sit on your rock for as long as you need to take in the experience. I would suggest journaling as you come out of the meditation. Mark down what you've seen, what you've experienced, what you felt. Keep as a record for further notation. I thank you guys for letting me take you on that journey. It was interesting to experience myself. I do suggest tonight drinking a cup of tea or hot cocoa, something warm to warm your soul. And whenever you feel you need to do this meditation, you can do it at any point in time. Read during this time, since everything's kind of shut down. Whatever they show you, Phyllis, just take it in, mark it down, make sure you journal your journeys. It's always good because then you can go back and look and see how they changed or how they adjusted or how they advanced, how well you're doing on your meditations. It's a great meditation journal to start. The first book I suggest is God's Message to the World. It's a really great book to kind of just get to know God's message, which was channeled through a man by the name of Neil Donald. Next one, and I always suggest these books, is Paul Selig. He is the author of I Am the Word. This is a book that I've been kind of gnawing over as Beyond the Known Realization. It's a really good book. I love his books because they're so advanced. It's the knowledge that I already know, but what I like about this book is it doesn't let you get past a chapter until you absorb the chapter you've read before. So it's like you can't move to 5th grade until you do 4th grade. Very good book to kind of start your journey. I would also do the I Am Your Word to start out as well. This book was introduced to me by a friend who had bought it actually for me, and it's called The Anatomy of the Spirit, The 7 Stages of Power and Healing. I've been kind of just going over it a little bit, and it is really very interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's live show. Thank you, YouTube, for joining in. I'm sorry I couldn't see your comments. I'll go back and look later. And thank you, Facebook, for joining in. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you guys reconnect after this meditation. Reconnect back into earth. Put your feet in the soil, in the grass, sand, wherever you are. And just breathe in Mother Nature for 5-10 minutes. Just be with her. I thank you guys again for joining Spirit Talk, Sacred Sanctuary Soul Space. And you guys have a blessed day. And remember, reconnect to Mother Earth. And I hope to see you on Soul Shift sale and see what, calls to you, what crystals call to you. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Thank you for joining.